in the early hours of March 28th, while most of Trinidad and Tobago was fast asleep, a chartered flight from the United States touched down quietly at Piarco International Airport. On board, 11 nationals, 10 men and 1 woman deported from the United States. Now that 1 woman was taken straight into custody, reportedly over 2 outstanding warrants. But let's not pretend that this is an isolated event. This is a part of a much bigger story, and if you're from the Caribbean, especially living in the United States or the UK, you need to hear this, because immigration enforcement under President Donald Trump's second term is back in full force, and this time it's even more aggressive. So in a recent speech to Congress, Trump made it crystal clear immigration control is a top national priority for the United States. He pledged to restore law and order to America's borders, cracking down on illegal immigration and ramping up deportations, especially for those with criminal history or those who entered the United States unlawfully. And this time, he's not just talking, he is acting. We're seeing expanded ICE operations, fast-track deportation flights, and the revival of strict immigration tools like the Alien Enemies Act, a law from 1798 that allows the removal of individuals who are deemed to be a national security threat. The Trump administration has already used that law to deport suspected gang members, and now Caribbean nationals, many of whom have lived in the United States for years, are feeling the impact as well. It doesn't matter if you've built a life, have children, or even if you've paid taxes. If your paperwork is not in order, or if you've made legal missteps, you could be next. So the 11 nationals landed in Trinidad. That's just one flight. More are coming. And this isn't just about law enforcement. It's about what happens after they land. Now, according to the Ministry of National Security, they say that systems are in place. Deportees are screened and monitored and are flagged if they're considered a threat. But here is the question that I've got. Is the Caribbean ready for the long-term impact? Because most deportees, they come back to the Caribbean with no job, no support system, and frankly, no plan. Many left the Caribbean decades ago. Some have children, homes, entire lives they've got in the United States. They're not just returning. They're basically starting over from zero. So what happens next? Do we leave them to fend for themselves, or do we have to step up? I want to hear from you. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Now, Prime Minister of Jamaica, Holness, he recently made a bold point. He said that these deportations, though unfortunate, could actually help the Caribbean if managed carefully. Why is that, you might ask? Because some returnees will bring valuable skills, construction, logistics, farming, mechanics, IT, many have US work experience, and right now countries like Jamaica and Trinidad are facing labor shortages. Now, what Prime Minister Holness is saying, he believes that returning nationals could help fill the gap and contribute to the economic development if we create the systems to support them. But that is a big if, because without the proper integration programs, the risk is clear. Rising unemployment, growing poverty, and even increased crime. The Caribbean just can't be receiving people, they have to rebuild with them. You see, this moment is bigger than just one country. Caribbean nationals are being deported from not just the United States, but also from Canada and from the UK. This is a part of a global trend of stricter immigration enforcement. So the question is, what is the Caribbean going to do about it? Are we waiting for the next plane to land, or are we preparing our economies, our social systems, and our people to handle this wave? Because this isn't just a policy issue, it's a human one. Some deportees aren't criminals. Some were deported for overstaying a visa or failing to renew their work permit or getting into minor legal trouble decades ago. And yet, when they return, they carry the label of deportee. That is a stigma that I think we have to remove. We need to recognize that not all returnees are a burden. Many can be an opportunity. So what can Caribbean governments do right now? They need to create reintegration programs, skills training, business grants, counseling, help people to land on their feet. They also need to partner with the private sector, get businesses involved in hiring returnees with the right skill sets. The Caribbean also need to engage diplomatically with the United States and other countries to negotiate a fair deportation process that gives time to families and governments to prepare. They also need to launch public awareness campaigns. Let's change how we talk about deportation. Let's remove the shame and replace it with support. And to the Caribbean diaspora that is living abroad, be aware. The Trump administration has made it clear there is no tolerance for immigration violations. If you're undocumented or if you have legal issues, you are at risk. However, if you find yourself back in the Caribbean, remember that your story is not over. You have value, you have experience, and the Caribbean needs your contribution now more than ever. I believe that in the Caribbean, we can build something powerful together, but that starts with preparation, compassion, and a vision. This isn't just about one flight or one country. This is about the Caribbean's future. Do we panic or do we plan? Do we reject returnees or do we reinvest in them? The answer to all of those questions will shape the next 10 years in this region. So if you found this video helpful, hit that like button and drop a comment below, because as I said, I want to hear from you. How do we address this? What do you think Caribbean governments should be doing right now? And don't forget to subscribe for more real talks about global events that will impact the region. Let's stay informed and let's stay united and let's build a stronger Caribbean together.